Very good morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are safe and fine at your places. And I truly believe that your learning process is really going on great. So students, as you all know that we are going on with our new chapter, and the name of our chapter is Fundamentals of Physiology and Anatomy. I hope you are aware about it, right? So let's begin our session. The name of our session, the name of our chapter is, it is unit number 8, first thing, okay? And we are going on with fundamentals of anatomy and physiology. Okay, students? Fundamentals of physiology and anatomy. So welcome in the ocean of physical education, students. Alright. So students, before we are going to start our chapter, so let us come and first recapitulate till this chapter. What are the things that we had done? So as you all know, students, this is our part 7 of this unit. We are dealing with part 7 right now. Okay, students? So I am just now going to tell you about all that we had done earlier. The first thing is anatomy that we had discovered. Anatomy, study of human body structure. Physiology, study of the functions of various organ systems like your heart, the digestive system, the excretory system, the glandular system, the reproductive system, etc. Okay, so anatomy means structure related study, physiology means study of the functioning of the various organs. Here in this chapter we are dealing with the fundamentals of physiology and anatomy. One more thing is there, kinesiology. In kinesiology, what we had done earlier is that kinesiology is a study of force acting on our body. Like if I throw something upward, it goes downward. It comes back. Why? Because Sir Newton told us about this law of Newton's. And the gravitational force attract the things. That's why whenever we throw something upward, it will come downward. So kinesiology is dealing with all these things. And let us suppose if I am giving you one example that if you want to throw a javelin, if you want to throw a shot put, if you throw that shot put with the angle of 45 degree, this angle is best. The projectile and the distance covered by that shot put will be good. Okay, so these all things we had done earlier. Then we had talked about the skeletal systems. Skeletal system. So before going to start the skeletal system, I would like to tell you so many systems which are present in our body. Like first the skeletal system, muscular system, digestive system, excretory system, okay, glandular system, So our body has various kind of systems in our body, like the production of the hormones, the secretion of the hormones, etc. If we talk about the digestive system, we chewing the food in our mouth, that is the buccal cavity. There is a lot of teeth, incision, canine, molar, premolar, right? Next thing is that these food goes into the food pipe. Okay, after food pipe, there is a peristaltic movement in the food pipe and it goes into the stomach. There, the secretion of HCl and various different kinds of juices secreted by the different organs like liver and so many things. Right, dear students? So the digestion of food occur and the production of energy in the form of stored in the mitochondria in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Later on, this energy is converted into adenosine diphosphate, and the production of energy So the removal of the nitrogenous waste from the body is related to the respiratory system. Basically, kidney play a vital role in the removal of respiratory system. From our skin, sweat is removed, so it is also the part of the removal of the nitrogenous waste from our body. Glandular system, the various glands, the various hormonal secretion in the body, so on. If we talk about the skeletal system, so we have so many bones, we have so many joints that we had earlier done with Mr. Boni in the previous lectures. Okay, students. So if I'm gonna talk about the types of joint, right? Or if I talk about the joints, so some joints are immovable, which are not they will not show any kind of movement. Some joints are movable joint, and some joints are freely movable joints. The example of freely movable joint is your knee joint. Okay. Now the next thing, if we talk about the muscular system. Okay. So our body has three types of basic. If I talk about the muscles, so straighted muscles, unstraighted muscles, cardiac muscles. Okay. And we can also call it voluntary muscles, which are in our control. Involuntary muscles, the muscles which are not work according to our willpower. Cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are the special kind of muscles, and these muscles are present on our hearts, and they are working throughout our life. These, the heart produces the sound that is a love duck sound. Okay, and these cardiac muscles are present on the heart. Okay, so circulatory system, if we talk about. Circulatory system is basically related to the study of the heart, the working of the heart, the pumping, and heart is the pumping organ, as you all know. As these all parts, whatever I am telling you, these things you had already studied in class 9 and class 10. Okay, students. Next thing that I want to clear here is the respiratory system, and today we are going to deal with the respiratory system only. See, there is a difference between respiration and breathing. Breathing is a normal process in which you inhale and exhale. As you all know, students, we inhale oxygen and we remove carbon dioxide. When we inhale oxygen, it goes into our lungs, it mixes with the blood vessels, the oxygen diffuses into the blood, the carbon dioxide comes out, and the production of energy happens. That is the respiration, right? So today in this session, we will be going to learn all about the respiratory system. It means we will be going to learn about the working of respiratory system. We'll be going to learn about the structure of respiration. We'll be going to learn about the heart rate, the breathing rate, tidal volume, vital capacity, etc. So first we will make a diagram and I'll show you what is exactly respiratory system. Then I'll also tell you what is the basic difference between external breathing or external respiration or internal breathing or internal respiration. Later on, after that, we will be going to learn about the mechanism of respiration or mechanism of breathing. I hope till now you have cleared everything. So let me rub it and we will deal with the next thing. Okay, students? So let's rub it and let's start to learn about the respiratory system. So students, what I first would like to clear you is that. So student, let's come, and now we are going to learn about all about the respiratory system. Okay. So first we are going to level all the diagrams. We are going to make the diagram of respiratory system. So let's start to make it. Okay. Although I am not so good at making diagrams, but they are quite interesting in that. Okay, students. So basically it consists of the nasal passage, right? First thing is nasal passage. Nasal passage, it means your nose, from where you respire, from where you inhale oxygen. And let me clear you, we inhale oxygen and we remove carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is what nasal cavity or nasal passage. Now let me draw some another things. Okay, so for that what I would like to say is that, okay students, so as you can see in the above diagram, okay, this is the respiratory system we are learning. Respiratory system. In respiratory system, student, what we need to think first is all the part of the respiratory system. If you need to think about the first, that is the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity, it means nasal passage, from where you respire, from where you breathe in, right? Next thing is the voice box. What is it? This is voice box. Okay, so whenever you breathe, the oxygen or the air goes into through the nasal passage to the lungs. Okay students, so as you can see, voice box there. Now the next thing, that the pipe through which this oxygen goes into, right, is the windpipe. What is this pipe called? Windpipe. The food pipe we called oesophagus, the windpipe we called trachea, right? Next thing is, these are the cartilages, rings. Okay, got it? And this is a throat region. This is cartilages, bones present here. Ribs or rings we can say. Right? This is your left side lung. This is your left side and this one is the right side. Right lung. This is bronchi. Both of this bronchi. Okay. Next thing is, this is your left side lung. So we can call it left lung. Right. If you talk about this part, this is your diaphragm. Right, student? So these are the part of our respiratory system. Now student, why I am more emphasizing on the respiratory system? What do we mean by respiratory system, and what do we exactly want to explain? What I exactly want to explain everything about this respiratory system. Students, see, the major the concerning thing is about the respiratory system is about when we do yoga, when we do pranayams. If we talk about pranayam, so pranayam is made up of two words, pran and ayam. It means breathing air as a power of life. So first understand the mechanism of this respiratory system, then I will tell you about different kinds of pranayams too. So students, as you can see here, the oxygen comes from the nasal passage. It passes to the throat region, that is the windpipe. It comes into the lungs. The lungs consist of the various alveoli. Okay, let me make it. So I am just making a diagram so that you can, here you can see. Here we have blood vessels. What do we have here? We have blood vessels here. Okay, so when we consume oxygen, when we take oxygen, it goes into the lungs, that is the alveoli. Then the oxygen, from here the oxygen started. This oxygen goes into the blood vessels. It means oxygen diffused into the blood. O2 diffused into blood, and on the same time, within the milliseconds, this carbon dioxide comes and will remove it. So what I want is, student, just sit straight, just inhale, close your eyes and inhale deeply and exhale. Now you, while you have closing your eyes, you remember, you try to feel that oxygen goes into your lungs. When first time you take a deep breath, you feel that your lungs has not that much capacity. You feel little bit wrong, something went going on wrong with your lungs. But when you started to take a deep breath, okay, slowly and gently, you will be started to feel what are the organs. Okay, like when you started to take a deep breath, you feel that oxygen goes into your lungs through the windpipe. You will have to imagine. While you close your eyes, you will have to imagine that the oxygen is really going on inside in the lungs. The oxygen mixed with the blood vessels, and suddenly that carbon dioxide comes out and you remove it. Just take in and take out. Okay, so do things practically and try to boost up your lungs so that various kinds of illness, sickness, or various kind of diseases we can fight with them. So this was all about the respiratory system and the mechanism of it. Right now, students see if we talk about the external respiration and internal respiration. When you breathe in through your nasal passage, it is external respiration. And when this oxygen mixed with the blood vessels, when the oxygen diffuses into the blood vessels and the carbon dioxide comes out, the production of energy happens. These all things are belongs to the internal respiration. Now students, I am going to tell you something and I want you students to mark my words. Okay? So, as you can see in this diagram, if we generally talk about the working of the respiratory system, oxygen is an important component on which our life depends. Got it, students? This is very essential cell and tissue in the body. It helps to provide energy necessary for life. Definitely, students, oxygen is brought into the body when we inhale. Its byproducts are given out when we exhale. So the external respiration belongs to inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Okay. Next thing is that respiration is the process in which exchange of gases taken place in our body, like the consumption or the inhalation of the oxygen and the removal of the carbon dioxide. Interchange of gases like oxygen diffuse with the blood and carbon dioxide diffuses from the blood. The process of respiration involves lungs. As you can see in the diagram on the board, that's the green board, you can see the lungs, you can see the diaphragm, you can see the respiratory tract, you can see nose, it means the nasal passage or the nasal cavity, you can see larynx, pharynx, trachea, the throat region, etc. And next thing is that, okay students, so what we had studied is that about the respiratory system, and we read about the process of respiration involves, as you can see on the blackboard, is diaphragm, respiratory tract, pharynx, larynx, mouth, trachea, etc. Basically, respiration is of two types, students. We need to think about two types, that is the external respiration or breathing. So we call external respiration as breathing also. Internal respiration, it means tissue respiration. It means the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide and the production of energy. When we talk about the external respiration or breathing, these respiration processes take place in the lungs with the help of alveoli or the air sacs. In the alveoli, the carbon dioxide diffuses from the blood and oxygen diffuses with blood. External respiration is called breathing. Inhalation and exhalation are two processes of external respiration, that is the breathing. These process originate or oxygenate to the blood. It gets purified as carbon dioxide is removed from the blood. And you know, the pumping of blood is done by the heart, students. This breathing process oxygenated the blood and get purified when the carbon dioxide is removed from the blood. External respiration makes internal respiration possible. Without external respiration, you can't go for the internal respiration. Internal respiration possible as oxygen-rich blood goes into the different part of body. So whenever you breathe, it means whenever you do the external respiration, the oxygen, our blood is enriched with the oxygen, and the various part of our body get the oxygen-rich blood. If we talk about the internal respiration, so here you need to note that internal respiration is also called the tissue respiration. What we call this internal respiration? Internal respiration is also called tissue respiration. These processes of respiration take place in the tissues and cells. What is tissue and what is cell? I hope you all know, because these things we have already studied in grade 9th and 10th. Okay, the cell is a structural and fundamental unit of life, and tissue, these are the group of cells which perform a specific function. The respiration, oxygenated blood reach into the tissue where oxygen get used during the energy production. These metabolic reaction produces carbon dioxide, which is carried out away by the blood to the lungs and purification through the external respiration. Student, now if we talk about the mechanism of breathing, the lungs are two thin-walled elastic sac in the thorax cavity. This is an airtight cavity, or enclosed by the ribs. So as in the previous lecture when I was teaching you the skeleton system with Mr. Boni, so I told you that the lungs are inside the rib cage, right? Remember that point? So this is an airtight cavity enclosed with the ribs from the side of the diaphragm below, and the diaphragm is below, right? Any change in the thorax affect the volume of lungs. When we breathe in, that is the inspiration or inhalation, muscles across the rib contract. It pulls the rib towards the sideward. At the same time, the muscles of the diaphragm contract and flatten. Thus, size of lungs increases and there is an increase in the volume. Due to this, low pressure develops in the lungs, and so air is sucked inside through the nose and mouth. Breathing out, that is the expressions, in exhalation we simply say, occurs when the muscles of the diaphragm and the ribs relax. By this, the space is reduced and there is decrease in the volume. Thus, high pressure develops in the lungs. So air pushed outwards. When the body is at the rest, the movement of the diaphragm is alone are sufficient to fill, and the emptiness of the lungs is, the breathing process is going on and all. Now students, as you understood the thing that I want to deliver you, okay, so now I want to show you one picture which shows you the inhalation and the exhalation. Okay, as you can see students in this diagram, the first diagram, it means breathing. You can see the air inhaled, the ribcage expand as ribs muscles are contract. You can see the action of lungs, you can see the position of diaphragm. Okay, so inhalation, when your lungs fill up with air. Exhalation, it means the removal of carbon dioxide. You can see in the part exhalation, diaphragm relaxes, moves up. Okay, and you can see the rib cage gets smaller as rib muscles relaxed. So in both the thing, you must have imagined, you must have saw that in inhalation, diaphragm contract, moves downward. What we notice here? We notice that whenever we talk about this diaphragm and the breathing, when we breathe in, like when we respire, okay, so whenever we respire, the inhalation, we call it inhalation, right? The taking of oxygen, diaphragm contracts. Okay, so when you breathe in, whenever you breathe in, the diaphragm will contract and it's moved downward. If we talk about breathe out, it means exhalation, removal of carbon dioxide. In this process, as you can see here in this diagram, the diaphragm relaxes. Okay, why the diaphragm relaxes? Because the rib cage gets smaller as the rib muscles are released. As you can see here, okay, in this diagram, as you can see, what I would like to show is that relaxation. Diaphragm muscles are relaxing so that the movement is upward. So it is clear from the above diagram that in breathing process, when we breathe in, it means in the part A, inhalation, diaphragm contract and the movement is downward. If we talk about breathe out, that is the removal of the carbon dioxide, it is exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and the movement is upward. I hope you have cleared this term. Now student, we need to think upon the three terms. These are very important terms and you just go through it, okay? The first point is breathing rate. The first point is breathing rate. Now what is breathing rate? Normally when a person breathes, the rate is 15 to 20 per minute. It means in a minute we can breathe 15 to 20 times, right? But these rate can be enhanced up to 40 breaths per minute. So what is breathing rate? Let's learn it. Okay, so we can start with normal breathing. The normal breathing rate is 15 to 20 per minute. 15 to 20 breaths per minute. Okay, it means in a minute we can breathe up to 15 to 20 times. But this can be enhanced by the trainings, if you follow the training principles, if you go for pranayams, if you follow the breathing exercise, the respiratory boosting. There are so many workshops, there are so many exercises related to the respiratory system, the cardiorespiratory system, right? So it can be enhanced up to 40 breaths per minute if you go for the exercise. Okay, so if you're regularly running, if you are doing work, like if you go for the step Howard test, if you go for the next test, that is your awkward walking test, right? So these are the cardiorespiratory tests, and if you go through this test again and again on the regular basis, so then this your breathing rate can be enhanced. So it is so simple to go for this test, right? That is the step Howard test. You will be definitely learning in grade 12 when you come. And this Rockport walking test. Rockport walking test is basically a 6-minute kind of walk in which the aerobic fitness can be measured. So whenever we go for the enhancement of the endurance, right? What is endurance? Endurance means the ability of a body to overcome fatigue. Endurance is of two types, aerobic endurance and anaerobic endurance. Aerobic, it means presence of oxygen. Like whenever you run for a longer duration at a slow pace, that is aerobic endurance. Anaerobic. Okay students, so when I am talking about the endurance is the ability of our muscles to overcome fatigue. Okay, now see what happens whenever you go for the long distance running, whenever you go for trekking, or you must have experience while playing football or while playing hockey or various games. Whenever we do a long term or a long duration activity, sometimes it's happen that there might be cramp, strain, sprain. Why? Because on that time your endurance is not good. Whenever we eat carbohydrate, if you take the excess amount of carbohydrate, these carbohydrates store in our body in the form of glycogen. And this will use when you do the endurance activity like cyclotron, marathon. In this activity, this glycogen will be used. But if there is a lack of salts in your body, then the cramp started to come. The cramps taken place. So students, whenever I am talking about aerobic activity, yani ki presence of oxygen, 600-meter run, this is aerobic activity. If I am talking about football, if I am talking about hockey, if I am talking about 50-meter dash, when the activity is for longer duration but the pace is fast, running is fast, pace is fast, these kind of activities are anaerobic. So aerobic means presence of oxygen, presence of O2, it is oxygen, and aerobic it means absence of O2. So all those activities which are in the presence of oxygen are aerobic activities, and all these activities which are in the absence of oxygen is called anaerobic activities. Very first point, the breathing rate, I hope you cleared it out. Breathing rate, the normal breathing rate is 15 to 20 breaths per minute. It can be enhanced up to 40 breaths per minute. Now we are going to learn the next point, that is the tidal volume. What is the next point? The next point is tidal volume. Tidal volume. Right, students? The next point that we are going to cover is tidal volume. And what is tidal volume? It is the normal amount of air exhale in a single breath. It is approximately 500 ml to 3000 ml at a normal event. So tidal volume is what? Just have a recapitulation of this definition. Tidal volume. Tidal volume, it is the normal amount of air exhaled in a single breath. Okay, so let's perform it. Let's do it. Take a deep breath. Where I know that sometimes you guys are sitting on a particular place or you stand. So whatever you are doing, just stop for a while. Just take a deep breath. Exhale. Exhale. Try once more. Student, what you need to do, just sit at a particular place, inhale deeply and exhale. That is tidal volume. The maximum amount of carbon dioxide exhale in a breath. Okay? So tidal volume is the amount of oxygen, the amount of carbon dioxide that you exhale. It can be 500 ml to 3000 ml. Right? So what is tidal volume? Is it clear? Tidal volume is the maximum amount of oxygen that you exhale in a breath. So it's so simple. Tidal volume is the amount of oxygen which is exhaled in a minute. This point is clear. First point क्या किया हमने? We have discussed about the breathing rate. So it is a normal breathing rate. If we talk about the normal breathing rate is 15 to 20 per breath. But if you go for the different kinds of exercise of the cardiorespiratory system, it can be increased up to 40 breaths per minute. It means in a minute you can go for 40 breaths. Then we had talked about the endurance. Endurance are the aerobic and maybe anaerobic. Aerobic, it means presence of oxygen. Anaerobic, it means absence of oxygen. When we talk about the tidal volume, so tidal volume is the amount of oxygen exhaled. What is tidal volume? Tidal volume is the amount of oxygen exhaled. It can be 500 ml to 3000 ml. Last but not the least, that is the vital capacity. It is the maximum air exhaled after a deep breath. And when we were talking about the tidal volume, so tidal volume is the normal amount of air exhaled in a single breath. Okay? And what is vital capacity? It is the maximum air exhaled after a deep breath. Vital capacity, I am telling you now. Vital capacity. Vital capacity. Vital capacity, maximum amount of carbon dioxide exhaled. Right? So vital capacity is that capacity in which we exhale the maximum amount of carbon dioxide. So let's come here and recapitulate. We had started a session with the respiratory system. Respiratory system consists of the nasal passage from where the oxygen goes inside. Now we have a windpipe. These windpipe consist of the voice box, throat region, left lung, right lungs. Okay, we have a cartilaginous bones here. Okay, next is we have bronchi. The oxygen goes into the lungs to the alveoli, mixed with the blood vessels. The oxygen diffused to the blood. Then the carbon dioxide comes out. The production of energy taken place. Then we have a look upon the three basic terms which is related to the respiratory system. The first term is breathing rate. Breathing rate, if we talk about the normal breathing rate, it can be 15 to 20 breaths per minute. But if you go for the different kinds of exercise for the cardiorespiratory system, it can be enhanced up to 40 breaths per minute. Next point that we have studied is about the tidal volume. Tidal volume is the amount of oxygen exhaled, amount of carbon dioxide exhaled. Pardon for the word oxygen. Tidal volume is the amount of carbon dioxide exhaled. It can be 500 ml to 3000 ml. Last point of the session Vital capacity. When you have a deep breath, after a deep breath, the maximum amount of carbon dioxide exhale is called vital capacity. So students, note all these points properly, all about the respiratory system. With this, take care. Bye bye. Lots of love and blessings to all of you.